The trick to shallowing is to not shallow at all. What's up guys, it's your favorite Kiwi coach, and give me 6 months of your time, I'll give you the best golf swing of your life. So you've been searching on YouTube, how to shallow the golf club, shallowing. What's the best way to shallow? You hear teachers, they say move the wrist this way, move the body this way. You try it, you shank the ball, you hit it terrible, the ball's going shorter. If you are one of those people and that sounds like you, this is the perfect video for you. We're gonna be reacting to an Athletic Motion Golf American YouTube channel, breaking down, maybe the best thing to do for shallowing is to not shallow at all. So let's go ahead and jump in. But before we start the video, I wanna give a quick shout out to our sponsor, and that is Kiwi Golf Japan. If you did not know, YouTube does not pay the bills. So if you wanna help support this channel and continue to allow us to make videos for you, after the video is over, check out the link down below, sign up for the membership. It really supports this channel. And now let's go talk about that shallowing concept.
Today's video, we're going to talk about the best way that we found to shallow the golf club on the downswing.
All right, so if you guys have never heard of these people before, they're called Athletic Motion Golf. It's an American YouTube channel that's most notably known for having a gear system where they compare professional golf swings versus amateur golf swings. This particular video, they're going to be taking a look at a really top-end PGA Tour professional in gears and see if he's actually flattening the club shaft or shallowing the club shaft the same way that you're hearing a lot of these YouTube instructors talk about. So that's going to be the main point of the video. So let's go ahead and jump forward to when they start.
The best comment of the week, we'll get some really cool stuff from us in the mail. You got to be a subscriber to win. So we talked about the S word, right? The big shallowing. It's all the buzz in golf.
Huge buzz.
We found through just years and years of doctoral research the best way to do this.
Yeah.
Actually, we've just looked at the history of golf and found the best way to do this. So,
okay, so they're being a little bit sarcastic here. What they're trying to say is they went through on their gear system. I'm sure they compared a lot of the best PGA Tour players and looked at what they're doing with the club shaft movement and see if what they're doing with the club shaft movement is really what those instructors are telling their subscribers to be doing with the club shaft. That's kind of what they're joking around about. I think just, off of their humor, just off of what they're saying, I think you guys are already starting to get maybe the point of what their opinion is on shallowing, but let's continue to move forward.
Up here at our playing board. And what we mean by shallowing is when you get to the top of the backswing, this golf club, the head of the golf club is coming down a little shallower than the hands, right?
So that's a really important definition there. So at the top of the swing, let's say you're more so in this laid out position like they were just referencing right there. If this club head stays behind the hands in transition, that would be quote unquote shallowing. Or if the club head starts to move a little bit more that way, again, that would be necessarily shallowing in that definition. But as soon as the club head starts to move towards the hands in transition, that would be more so steepening and then moving that club shaft towards a steeper fashion. That's the definition. Let's move forward.
It comes down a little bit lower.
Right. So, not a drastic thing.
The pitch of the club.
Yes, the pitch of the club. We want the pitch of the club off that 90 degrees, kind of matching the elbow plane. So, let's go to the top of the backswing.
Okay.
All right, so one thing I want to point out before he starts to swing down. So first off, the camera angles between these two swings right here are completely different. So the one over here, and this is Sean Webb, by the way, who's one of the Athletic Motion Golf guys, but this camera angle is more off to the right of Sean over here, and then this camera angle over here is more towards kind of the grip end of the player, which is more so the proper angle you should be filming from when you are filming. So because the angle of Sean's camera is slightly off, when Sean starts to make his swing, it's going to make the club shaft appear that it's actually in a little bit different spot than the pro golf swing over here. But I can promise you, if they would have got the camera angle set up correctly, which I think they should have for this video when they're going to use something like this as a reference, but if they would have got the camera angle set up, Sean's swing would have looked very identical to the pro golf swing. Just note that the camera angle is off to the side over here with Sean, so it will appear like the swings look different, but it's really just a camera angle. So make sure that you keep that in mind as we continue to see what they're about to say.
Sean's pretty well matched up, kind of parallel to the plane line, right? He's a little bit above it, but everything looks good. Now, from there, shallow the club on the downswing. All right, did you see?
All right, so as you guys can see, first and foremost, over here is Sean's club. It definitely looked like the club shaft was kind of intersecting this line right here, and then if anything, going a little bit underneath the line. Again, that was because of the camera angle that Sean had. If it would have been positioned correctly, you would have seen the club head move a lot differently than that, and would have matched what the pro over here on gears looked like as well. So let's dissect what the pro was doing. So first and foremost, initially the club shaft and the club head was above this opaque line right here, but then somewhere from position 4 to position 5, the club shaft actually lowered into this white opaque area. And then from there, from position roughly 5 all the way down to position 6, as you can see, the club head and club shaft have stayed within this opaque line. So because of this, if you see someone actually teaching the club shaft to go this way, right, to flatten, well, if that were the case, then this player, who's a top-level PGA Tour player, should be doing that, right? And that's kind of the whole point of the video. The more and more they look at gears, the more and more they look at tour professional golf swings, they don't necessarily see what you are being taught here on YouTube, which again is to get that club shaft to move towards that flatter position. That's really the main point of the video. So let's continue forward. There's some more great points here.
Let's do it again. All right, watch all these.
All right, let's stop it there as well. That's a little bit of sarcasm right there. So at the top of the swing here, as you can see, they drew some lines on the club shaft as the club shaft starts to move down. So from here to here to here to here, they're above this opaque line. And then somewhere right around that position 5, you see that this club shaft now starts to get in the middle of that opaque line. And then through the act of steepening and moving the grip in the correct direction, we're seeing the club head and club shaft stay in this opaque line. And then this is exactly what most professional golf swings are doing in the transition area. If they were actually doing what the tour pro coaches or those people who teach shallowing like this movement, well, what you would see is the club shaft would start to go horizontal and go through this opaque line. And that would be more so what you'd see the best players do. But that's not what we're seeing them do, right? We're seeing that club shaft move more so on top of this opaque line, and then eventually they start to move into it through more so of a lowering motion and not necessarily a flattening motion.
So we're being a little sarcastic because that's literally the best way that we found, and again, we didn't invent this, we just watched great players throughout history, get the club up in a really good spot, almost pre-shallowed at the top. Yeah.
So that's something that I said at the very beginning of the video, right? The best way to shallow is to not shallow. And what I'm referencing is if you listen to those golf instructors on YouTube who are telling you to flatten the club shaft, that might not necessarily be what you should be doing. Now, when it comes to feel, potentially this could be something that you want to feel, flattening of the club shaft. I teach it all the time to people who are just way too steep. But in the real, when we actually look at the golf swing and we do see that club shaft really flattening and laying down, that is something we absolutely would want to avoid. Now, what they're talking about here is when you take a look at a lot of the best players in the world, and this is something I really agree with as well, the best iron players, the best ball strikers in general, at the top of the swing here, what you're going to find is the club shaft is going to be kind of parallel to this forearm right here, which then in turn is parallel to this opaque line, right? You call that the club shaft line or whatever you want to call it. And then from here, the angle that you need to be at is already pretty much preset because the club shaft is in a good relationship relative to the hands. Then all you have to do is really just take this and kind of lower it down onto that shaft line or that opaque line. And then from there, you just have to torque the club and steepen the club a certain way at a certain time, which is not the point of this particular video, but maybe a future video, to keep that club shaft on this white line right here. And that is what the best players are doing, right? You don't see them necessarily crazy crossed at the top and then having a massive flattening move to get back on this line and then staying here. Do some players do that like Matthew Wolff? Absolutely. But you're not seeing the best ball strikers doing this, right? And I would not consider Matthew Wolff to be one of the best ball strikers on the PGA Tour. Might be controversial, but it's definitely true.
Body.
All right, that's it for you guys on YouTube, but before you guys click off, let me give you some quick wrap-up points. So when it comes to the main points of this particular video, I think the best thing to do when thinking about shallowing is to not shallow. So if you're hearing those coaches talking about the club shaft actually in real flattening in transition and then continuing to do that all the way down into impact, that is absolutely incorrect. No great golfers actually do that. Now, as a feeling, potentially some of you guys out there, you might need to feel that because you're so steep in transition. It's kind of like a counter torque or counter offset feeling just to get you back to normal. So main thing here is go through the checkpoints they talked about in this particular video. I highly recommend top of swing getting that club shaft on the forearm. I think that makes everything so much easier. And then from there, if you guys want to watch more of this video, if you want to learn more on how to actually do this yourself, Well, check out our Kiwi Platinum membership. It helps support this YouTube channel, or sign up for lessons at the Kiwi Coach 6-month program. Other than that, like, comment, subscribe, share all that good stuff, and I'll see you guys in the next video.